I'm Tim Lerch, and today I'm going to do a little extended lesson on this blue bossa arrangement. This arrangement has been pretty popular on YouTube, and plenty of people have asked me if I would make a lesson about it. So I'm going to do that today. I'm going to go through it change by change or bar by bar and explain what my thinking is on it. And explain a few other options, maybe some fingering choices when there's more than one. Typically this tune is played in C minor. That was the original key that was, and it's called blue bossa, but it's really a sort of a jazz Latin feel. It's not really a true bossa nova. If you're really a bossa nova person, you know that a real bossa nova is a little different than this feel. I get the basic feel goes like this. So 1, 2, and 3, 4. I should mention also that in order to get the melody to work out nicely, I moved it up from C minor to D minor and added a few extra little changes, but not too many changes actually, to the basic harmony. If we start on D minor here, the melody is right under the shape of this chord, basically at the 5th fret. And so we go, have this very nice kind of, I'm doing it quite slowly now, nice jazz Latin groove. And we say, there's a pickup here. I'm going to go through that first bar, 2 bars actually. I'm going to play the pickup, and maybe you could play it if you like to an A 7th chord, and then D minor. I play A7 sharp 5 here, and really what it does is it creates an internal line that says, and also it's the same bass movement, but I just like the inner movement as well, so it sounds like this. Or if you prefer, because this ends up being a 3-note voicing, so the density of the sonority sort of shrink, we can say, okay, that's D minor 7, and sets up the next melody note very nicely too. So let's say we're going to do it that way. Then onto the G minor. I'm playing just my first finger straight across, because since I'm playing fingerstyle, I don't need to worry about the unplayed notes. They just go underneath the bar. And I'm playing a B flat melody note, followed by an A melody note and a G melody note. And the B flat melody note is supported by the F note that's below it. And then you can pretty much play the top 3 strings for that, and you add that with the bass line, and it says. And then we get to the E minor 7 flat 5. Now, a couple of possibilities here. With the E minor 7 flat 5, it's those notes, 7, 8, 7, 8, frets wise. Root 5th, flat 7, flat 3. And if you play it this way, you have to move your hand, but if you play it this way, you can let the rest of the chord ring, which is desirable, but at the tempo that we might want to do it at, it's also okay, and I think I might lean on this direction to play, because if I drop the root, I still have 2 notes ringing, and I'm going to replace the root with a flatted 5th very quickly afterwards. So it could sound like this, or if you want to do it the more sustainy way. Oh, sorry. Okay, so we'll talk about that again. E minor 7 flat 5, a melody note, Sorry. If I think about it too much, I can't do it. Now this chord right here is B flat 7 flat 5. The melody note is the flatted 5th. And then the next melody note is right below it. Then we're going to play A7 sharp 9. Don't mistake this for A minor 7 because there's a C sharp underneath there giving it a dominant 7th quality. The melody note here is the sharp 9 of the chord. And then the next melody note is flat 9, which we're going to get by going to the 3rd in the bass, leave the flat 7 there, and put the flat 9 in the melody. And now we get to, let me play that all the way through. Okay, and then we get to the D minor triad. So what I'm doing there is I'm playing a little line cliche on D minor. So we have D minor. You can play it this way too, and then switch to this, which is like a B flat triad really, but it's maybe properly in this situation called D minor sharp 5. And then we have D minor 6. Also looks like it could be like a diminished triad or a G7 chord almost without a G. And then back down. And then there's a melody going along with that too. Okay, so then we get to the key change where it goes to the key of E flat, which is really the reason we moved it up. I moved it up a whole step so I can get this part of the song. It goes to F minor 7. I tend to do it that way. You could do it that way too. I just like the strength of these two fingers here. And then there's a B flat 7 with a B flat in the melody, and then there's a flat 7 in the melody. And then this is an interesting little moment here. Just a bass line in the melody. The melody starts on the 4th degree of a E flat major 7th chord, the 6th, and the 5th, and then the bass line, boo, bo, bee, boo, ba. Put it all together and that sounds like this. Okay, and then we have a little bit stretchy E diminished. It's the lower part of an E minor 7 flat 5 chord, which is the 2 chord in the key of D minor. I'm going to reach back for that, reach up for this, and then back to here, and then here. So that looks like this. And then D minor. Okay, so I'm going to play it one more time now that we've explained the movements. I'll try and remember to play the pickup. Okay, I realized just now I did a movement there at the end. Like that, like I did in the body of the song. So maybe that's another alternative. So you say back to the same A7 sharp 9, and then A7 flat 9 with C sharp in the bass, and then to the. That's a little 2/5 there. Okay, this could be played a little more quickly. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what else we can do now that we've got a little arrangement under our fingers. I will provide for you an outline of these chord shapes and the melody notes that live around them in the form of a Ted Green style chord grid that I'm known to use. And you can find your way through it. The chord grids aren't accurate for rhythms. You have to, use it in conjunction with this video so you can see what I'm doing. The bass line is almost always roots and fifths, or roots, fifths, and thirds on their way to the next chord. You'll see what I mean as you look at the shapes. The next thing, and this is something I realized when I was a much younger player, is that if I have too detailed of an arrangement that's maybe too fancy or it's on the edge of my playing ability, by the time I get to the end of the arrangement, maybe 60 or 90 seconds have elapsed, and I've got to continue to play music. So I want to make sure that I can improvise up to a level that's as interesting and musically solid as the arrangement. So what I tend to do in a tune like this, especially, where I want to keep the groove going, for me that's very important. If we establish a groove in a Latin groove like this, to me it's almost a bond between us and our listeners to keep the groove solid and not drop beats or let the groove go because it's too hard to cover everything. But the good news is we don't have to play some sort of bebop melody here. We can play a very simple, well thought of and conceived melody that makes sense and combines with all of the rest of the things that we're doing to make an overall good musical statement. So if I have this as my basis, so right under my fingers are all these melody notes. Right? So let's say I get my groove going here. And take the basic melody, ba-ba-dee-ba-bum, and just do a variation on it. I could say something like this. Or I'm going on longer on D minor 7 than would normally go, but that's actually something you can do, is to practice each chord and see if you can discover melodies that will lie underneath the chord. If you wanted something a little busier. And I'm going back and forth between this D minor and A7. These kind of things can turn into vamps later on, or just give you a sense of how to get your skills up so you can play that bass line boom, 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 or just boom, 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 and then improvise melody above that with a little bit of chord information in the center. Okay? But again, I want to emphasize this: the melody doesn't have to be a profound exercise in bebop elaborations. It can just be a simple variation on the written melody. It can be a simple, slow-moving melody, but as long as it makes sense and stays in the groove, you're going to be doing good. Okay, so let me see if I can do a little improvisation over these changes on Blue Bossa. Okay, not the greatest thing ever, but I think you get the idea that I'm using basically the same movements or very similar movements as I used during the arrangement, but I'm just elaborating on the melody. I'm trying to keep the bass line going, so I would play this on the D minor, or if I'm up here, just turn the bass line around and you can say in G minor. Okay. I did that, which is basically E minor 7 flat 5. I'm using E minor 7 flat 5 with an 11th here. And then B flat 7. And then my D minor sound. To the new key. And I just went up for the third of the E flat chord there, and then back to the turnaround. Now I guarantee if you're playing like that and someone walks into the room, they're going to be, you know, patting their foot and digging it. If you're trying to play, and we're back for part 2. I had a little interruption in my video, so I'm continuing where I left off. So we're talking about how important it is to keep a nice groove and play simple melodies. Right? There's a lot of very nice melodies right underneath there, and if you just play simple and have a nice groove, then you'll have a very successful overall product. Whereas if you just try and play, you know, while that holds together pretty well, we set it ourselves up for having that beautiful bass line during the melody, and it kind of needs to continue, okay? The other thing that you can do, or another thing that you can do to stretch your arrangements a little bit, is to modulate to a new key and play the melody again. So let's say we're playing along and we say, and then instead of going to E minor 7 to A 7, we go, we're now in E flat minor. Same exact stuff. There it is. Sometimes I like playing the natural third on that chord, just so you'll know. Sometimes I grab it out of an old habit. So we can modulate to a key a half step higher just by playing a 2/5 of that key and going there. Or you can modulate to a key a whole step higher, so we'll say, back to here. There we are in E minor now. That kind of thing. Sometimes with not so much with a Latin tune, although it can happen too, I might just sort of use, I don't know if I'm go back to the original key, and I might play, now that's sort of, I think of it as just having a bass solo. And then the chords are above are just sort of doing the same thing, and then I'm elaborating in the bass. That can be surprisingly effective as well for a method of improvising in the context of your arrangement. Okay? So that's it for this one. Thank you very much for taking the time to learn this arrangement. I'm glad that there's so many people out there who seem to be interested in it. Oh, there it gets a little funny. Anyway, it's a great tune, and it's worth checking out what I'm doing here, I think, to expand your vocabulary a little bit. I'd like to give a shout out to Mike Lull at Mike Lull's Custom Guitars. He built this guitar for me. He does all my fret work and maintenance and everything. Mike's a great guy. I've been a customer of his for about 30 years, and they built this guitar, which is now a signature model in their line. So this is the TL-TX Chubby. It's a extra thick but hollow Telecaster. Thank you, Mike and Paul over there at Mike Lull Custom Guitars. Please check them out. They're on the web at mikelull.com, I believe. And also, I'm trying something with these lessons so that rather than charging a flat fee for them, I prefer to let as many people have them as possible and have them make a donation based on their ability to pay. Realize it's it takes a day or so of my life to shoot these things, and but I don't want you to break the bank or anything. What'll happen is the video will be on my website, timlerch.com, with a PayPal button. And as soon as I get a donation from you of any amount that you like, I will email you a link, a Dropbox link that has the video and the paperwork, the PDF, etc. And then you'll be able to download that onto your computer. And then please don't share it with other people, because if you do that, then I won't be able to continue to offer these lessons if they get kind of pirated around. So I trust you to take good care of the music and take good care of your teacher. Okay, thank you very much, and feel free to go to timlerch.com and see about this and other lessons that are available.